This is the issue, and I am the ghetto man. Today's issue on the table is basic income. You know, people that support communism are truly insane. Since its inception, communism has murdered over 100 million people. It has never, ever worked. It has failed every time that has been tried. Now, communism, what is it? Well, it's socialism by force. If you take a look at my video on communism on my YouTube channel, I get in there and explain to you the difference between socialism and communism. Now, progressive Democrats are communists. They just use the word progressive to hide the fact that they're communists. It's because if you study Karl Marx's writings, you'll find out that in his Communist Manifesto, the most important thing about communism was it was based upon a lie. You had to create a lie and then teach people that lie. So progressives is their word for communism. So they want to lie to you. They don't want to say, I'm a communist. They want to say, I'm a progressive, as it's something good, like we're progressing somewhere. When in actuality, what we're doing is we're regressing. And they believe, these progressives, that doing the same thing over and over and over again will manifest a different result. Now, that is insane. Progressives, or progressive Democrats, are nothing more than just insane, brainwashed people, period. And the latest insane proposal by the communist left is something that they call basic income. And I believe that they're also doing this in Finland. They're setting up an experiment where they're going to give a certain portion of the population a basic income. Although if you take a look at what Finland's doing, it's pretty much the same thing that we do with our unconstitutional welfare program that we have in the United States today. All right, this nutty idea of a basic income was recently proposed by Mark Zuckerberg. And I quote, "Every generation expands its definition of equality." Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second. He says that every generation expands the definition of equality. What the hell does that mean? You know, under our constitutional law, equality, and all it is that every individual or every citizen in this country has equal protection under the law. That's the only equality that you have. And then you go out in a free society and you do what you have to do to better yourself and your family and acquire property and money and whatever. Anyway, that's what Zuckerberg says, that every generation expands its definition of equality, which I really don't understand what he's trying to say there, but apparently the equality changes as time goes on. And he goes on to say that, he says, now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract. Whenever I see the word social in anybody's writings, I immediately insert the word socialist or socialism, whichever is apropos. But when I hear somebody say that we're going to define a new social contract. So what he's saying, he says that now it's the time for our generation to define a new socialist contract. So Zuckerberg said during his speech. Now, he goes on to say we should have a society or a socialist society that measures progress not by economic metrics like the GDP, that's the gross domestic product, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. Well, I don't know how a basic income is going to, give you a life that's meaningful. A meaningful life it takes hard work. You have to get an idea, you have to work the idea, you have to figure out how you're gonna finance the idea, and things go on. But the end results is that when you succeed, as Mark Zuckerberg has, you can acquire a lot of money if that's what you're looking for. You can acquire a lot of satisfaction. Success is different for every different person. He goes on to say we should explore the ideas like universal basic income to make sure everyone has a cushion to try new ideas. Well, I've built a lot of businesses in my life, done a lot of different things. Some successful, some not so successful, some complete failures. But the one thing is that I set out to do it myself, so I had to figure out how to get around all the problems or, suffer from my mistakes. But out of that, I learned something. And I didn't have somebody always there putting money in, giving me money so that I can go ahead and experiment on things that aren't going to be successful. Anyway, a basic income. I mean, let's just for a moment, let's think this thing through. Let's think it through a minute or two. Assume for a moment that it's constitutional for government to provide its citizens with a basic income, which, by the way, it's not. It's not constitutional. So the whole idea violates the law. But let's ask ourselves, what would happen if the government gave every citizen in the United States, let's say 2,500 Federal Reserve notes a month with no strings attached? Now, you notice I said Federal Reserve notes. I didn't say dollars because there hasn't been a lawful dollar in circulation since 1972. Okay? What you have in circulation now are private bank money. They're called Federal Reserve notes. Okay. That's why I said that. And I will do a show in the near future on money. We're going to have to go over that's the most misunderstood subject that we have in this country. Well, anyway, let's say we give everybody 2,500 Federal Reserve notes a month with no strings attached. Now, just using a little teeny bit of reason, logic, and common sense, what do you think would happen the day everybody received their free money? How many people would go to work the next day? Why would anyone go to work? Would you go to work? The economy would just shut down. No workers at the gas stations, no workers at the grocery stores, no workers at Walmart, Costco, Kmart, Circle K, Pizza Ranch, or any other business for that matter. No one would work. Why should they? Everyone would be on a permanent paid vacation. That's why. The problem with this nonsense is that none of the stores would be open to take your free money. There would be nowhere to shop. No products would be available to buy. No manufacturing would take place. No trucks transporting products would be on the roads. Nobody producing anything. No buying or selling of any products or services. No store would be open for business. The economy would come to a grinding halt. You would have no place to spend your basic income, your free money. The money government gave you would no longer have any value. What are you going to do with it? Where are you going to spend it? I guess you could use it as toilet paper. It may be legal, but I don't know how tender it would be. Nothing in this world is free, unless, of course, you're a hamster in a cage and your master feeds and takes care of you and lets you run on a freedom wheel to nowhere. We already have a communist system of basic income in this country. We call it welfare. We call it Social Security. Yes, Social Security is welfare. See my show on Social Security at my YouTube channel. I think you'll find it quite educational. Everything is supplied to you by the state. You get your housing, your food, your income, and your medical. Everything. Look how well that's worked today. There are about 110 million people on welfare in this country today. There are around 62 million people on Social Security. And yes, Social Security is welfare. It's not an earned benefit. It's a tax going in and a welfare check going out. Just check out my show. Over 51% of U.S. citizens are on welfare today. The money used for the welfare system is stolen. It's stolen from the taxpayer and redistributed to the welfare non-working recipient. And what do you think is going to happen when there's no one working anymore? Everyone is receiving free government money. Without a payroll tax, how are you going to fund this program? That is what a basic income would do. Nobody would be paying the welfare taxes anymore. The end results? Government will order you to work or die. That's how communism always ends, killing millions of people to make a failed system work. Just look at Venezuela right now. Another failed attempt at a socialist communist police state. You know, I ask the question all the time. What part of communism doesn't work? Don't the leftist communist Democrats understand? Even if you were a hunter-gatherer, you would have to go hunt or gather something, work, wouldn't you? Even if you grew your own food, you would have to work your garden, wouldn't you? Mark Zuckerberg is a communist traitor who wants to overthrow the U.S. Constitution. He and his corporate buddies want to enslave the American people in a system that destroys every incentive to build a free, prosperous society. A society where you are free to enjoy all of the fruits of your labor. Free to enjoy your life, your liberty, and your property. Instead, his proposal will destroy all incentives, all freedom, and all property rights. It makes every person in this country a ward to the state. It's communism. It's slavery. You know, communism has always been, as long as I've been alive, it's always been a failure's philosophy. That's why the insane communist left keeps doing it over and over and over again. The left, they are all failures in life. They are failures in liberty. They are failures in the pursuit of happiness. Communism, which is this basic income crap, fails 100% of the time. Every single time without question. Zuckerberg is the very definition of a communist corporate fascist. He wants corporations to run and manage your entire life from cradle to grave. If you want free money, then you are going to do exactly as the master, the government, mandates you to do. And there will be no exceptions. Every aspect of your life will be controlled. You will do nothing without the communist corporate fascist government's permission. Nothing. To everyone out there that thinks that this is a good idea, all I have to say to you is Tans Taffel. T-A-N-S-T-A-A-F-L. Tans Taffel. Which means there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. If you're politically correct, then you're legally wrong. If you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. I am the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching. I'm a child of the universe, free to be who I am. The laws of nature guide me and show me how to be my own man. My life belongs to me, this you'll have to understand.